Ladies and gentlemen, there's something undeniable a man who draws people in without trying. You've seen him before. He walks into a room and heads turn. Not because he's loud, not because he's flashy, but because he radiates something rare. That man is magnetic. And if you want women to not just notice you, but stay, you must become that kind of man. Knowing who you are and standing by it is the foundation of being a truly magnetic man. It's not about being arrogant or unshakably rigid. It's about being rooted. It means having clarity about your values, your beliefs, and your direction in life. Too many men move through life unsure of themselves, constantly changing their opinions and behaviors to fit the expectations of others, especially when trying to impress women. But here's the truth. No one is attracted to confusion. People are drawn to certainty, to stability, and to authenticity. When a man walks in alignment with who he truly is, he exudes a quiet confidence that doesn't need to be announced. It's in the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, and the decisions he makes without needing validation. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. What do you believe in? What will you not tolerate? What are you building your life around? When you have answers to these questions, you start to become immovable. Not because you're stubborn, but because you've done the work to understand your identity. And when a woman sees that level of self-awareness and inner strength, it's compelling. It tells her you're not looking to be completed. You're already whole. You're not desperate for attention. You're content, and she becomes drawn to that security. A man who knows who he is doesn't change himself to fit into someone else's world. He invites others into it. He leads his life with intention. And if a relationship enters his space, it's because it aligns with his mission, not because he's afraid of being alone. That doesn't mean you're unchanging. Growth is necessary, but real growth comes from building on your truth, not discarding it to mimic someone else's idea of success or desirability. Standing by who you are also means having boundaries. It means saying no to what doesn't serve your path, even if it's even if it means walking away from something or someone you deeply want. Because when you betray yourself, you lose your magnetism. But when you honor who you are, unapologetically, consistently, and without performance, you become rare. And in a world full of people trying to fit in, rarity is irresistible. Emotional maturity is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess, yet it's often misunderstood or overlooked. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending nothing affects you. It's about understanding your emotions, managing them responsibly, and responding to situations with calm strength. A man who is emotionally mature doesn't let his anger control him, doesn't act out of insecurity, and doesn't need constant reassurance to feel validated. He is grounded in himself. He feels things deeply, but doesn't allow those feelings to dictate his behavior in destructive ways. He knows how to sit with discomfort without exploding or withdrawing. And that kind of internal control, it radiates power. In relationships, emotional maturity becomes even more essential. Women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for safety, emotional safety. They want to know that when things get hard, you won't collapse under pressure or lash out in frustration. A man who can stay present, listen with empathy, and speak with intention is a man who commands respect and creates trust. He doesn't make every disagreement a war, and he doesn't need to win every argument. He understands that communication is not a battlefield. It's a bridge, and he knows that sometimes being silent and composed speaks louder than any clever comeback. Part of emotional maturity is also being accountable. You don't shift blame. You don't dodge responsibility. If you mess up, you own it. If you feel triggered, you explore it. You don't wait for someone else to fix you. You do the work. And that's the difference between a boy and a man. The willingness to grow without being forced. When a woman sees that you're not just reacting to life, but reflecting, learning, and evolving, she begins to relax into you. She trusts you, not because you say the right things, but because your energy is consistent. Your emotional temperature doesn't fluctuate based on your mood or ego. You also learn to recognize patterns. You begin to see where your wounds are and how they influence your choice. You break cycles instead of repeating them. You become someone who doesn't run from emotional intensity, but knows how to hold space for it. Yours and hers, and that right there, that's rare. That's magnetic. Emotional maturity doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you a stronger one. A man who leads not with control, but with emotional clarity. A man who draws people in because he's already in control of himself. Presence is a powerful force, and yet in today's fast-paced, distracted world, it's increasingly rare. Most people are only half there, scanning their phones, glancing around, mentally checking out of conversations. But a man who has mastered the art of presence is unforgettable. He isn't loud or overbearing. He doesn't dominate a space with noise. Instead, he captivates with stillness, with focus, with the simple power of being fully in the moment. When you speak to someone and they feel like they're the only person in the room, you create a connection that runs deeper than charm or good looks, and that connection becomes magnetic. Presence is about more than just paying attention. It's about being attention. It's the way you listen, not to respond, but to truly hear. It's the way you make eye contact, not in a forceful way, but with a calm steadiness that says, I'm right here, and you matter. When you're present, your energy slows everything down. You make people feel safe, valued, and seen. And in relationships, that's everything. Women don't stay for surface-level conversations or rushed interactions. They stay when they feel emotionally connected. They stay when your presence makes them feel grounded, not anxious. It's not about saying all the right things. It's about being the kind of man who knows how to be there, even in silence. When you're present, you also carry more authority. You don't rush your words. You're comfortable with pauses. You don't fill every gap with noise, because you're not afraid of being still. That kind of confidence is not loud, but it's felt deeply. It communicates that you're not trying to impress. You're simply being yourself, fully and unapologetically, and that is incredibly attractive. Presence also reflects emotional discipline. You're not constantly fidgeting, distracted by your own thoughts, or reacting to every external stimulus. You control your environment by controlling your attention. You lead with focus. You bring depth to every moment, because you've trained yourself to be in the now, not lost in the past, or worried about the future. A man who is present doesn't need to perform. His calm, engaged energy speaks for itself. And the more you practice that presence with everyone, not just women, the more magnetic you become. People feel it, they remember it, and they want more of it. Creating a life that inspires is about living in such a way that your daily existence reflects passion, purpose, and personal growth. It's not about impressing others or chasing status symbols. It's about building a life that you can wake up to every day with a sense of meaning. A life that excites you, challenges you, and calls you to rise above comfort and mediocrity. That kind of life doesn't just attract people, it draws them in deeply, because inspiration is contagious. When you're actively building something, whether it's a business, a skill, a vision for your future, you become a source of energy. You're no longer just existing. You're evolving. And women especially are drawn to that energy, not because you've made it, but because you're moving. You have direction, you have intention, you have a reason to keep going, and that makes you magnetic. A man who lives an inspiring life doesn't wait for motivation to find him. He creates routines, systems, and habits that move him forward, even when no one's watching. He doesn't rely on applause. He doesn't need validation. He does the work because it aligns with who he wants to become. And people can sense that commitment. It's felt in the way you talk about your goals, the way you carry yourself when no one's looking, the way you keep promises to yourself. That integrity between what you say and what you do builds quiet confidence. And that confidence is far more attractive than anything flashy or superficial. When your life is built on growth, you naturally become a better partner too. You have more to offer, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because you're not stagnant. You're feeding your mind, you're pushing your limits, you're becoming more than you were yesterday. And that sense of momentum gives others permission to grow alongside you. A woman doesn't want to be your purpose. She wants to be part of your purpose-driven life. She wants to see that you're chasing something greater than just pleasure or comfort, that you have standards, that you're willing to sacrifice short-term ease for long-term vision. When your lifestyle speaks louder than your words, people notice. When you live in alignment with your values and aspirations, people respect it, even if they don't fully understand it. You don't have to sell your story. Your life becomes the proof, the commitment, the inspiration. Respecting your boundaries and hers is one of the most vital but often overlooked elements of being a magnetic man. It's not about putting up walls or becoming emotionally unavailable. It's about knowing where you begin and end, and honoring the space between you and another person. When you respect your own boundaries, you communicate to the world, and to any woman you meet, that you have self-worth, that you are not available for manipulation, overextension, or compromising your identity just to keep someone interested. A man who holds his boundaries shows he has standards, and standards speak volumes without a word being said. They say, this is what I value, this is what I accept, this is how I live. At the same time, respecting her boundaries means being aware, listening, and not pushing beyond what she is comfortable with. It means recognizing that a no does not require pressure or persuasion, it requires understanding. It shows you're emotionally intelligent enough to value not just her body or her attention, but her autonomy, and when a woman feels that her space, time, emotions, and choices are respected, she lets down her guard. That's when genuine connection can begin, because real intimacy isn't forced, it's chosen. And people only choose it when they feel safe. When you abandon your own boundaries to please or impress, you begin to lose respect from her and from yourself. And when you push past hers, even in subtle ways, you become someone she can't fully trust. The balance lies in being assertive without being aggressive, being open without being overbearing, and being kind without being a doormat. Strong boundaries don't make you selfish, they make you reliable. They make you someone she can count on to mean what he says and say what he means. Setting boundaries also means having the courage to walk away when something doesn't align with your values. It's easy to stay in situations that are comfortable but draining, simply because you fear being alone. But a man who respects himself doesn't stay out of desperation. He knows that peace is more valuable than attention. He knows that alignment is more important than attachment. When you live by this principle, you don't have to demand respect. It's given naturally, because your actions teach people how to treat you, and that is a trait that will always draw the right people closer. Staying mysterious while staying grounded is a powerful combination that creates an irresistible aura around a man. Mystery isn't about playing games or being secretive, just for the sake of it. It's about holding parts of yourself close, revealing them thoughtfully and gradually over time. When you share everything too quickly, you leave nothing to discover, and relationships can lose their spark before they even begin. Keeping a sense of mystery means you don't rush to fill every silence with words, or overshare your entire life story on the first meeting. Instead, you invite curiosity, giving others a reason to want to know more. This deliberate pacing creates a magnetic pull because human beings are naturally drawn to things they don't fully understand. It triggers intrigue, excitement, and investment. At the same time, being mysterious doesn't mean being distant or emotionally unavailable. It's about balance. You stay open and authentic, but you also stay intentional with what you share and when. This control over your own narrative shows that you're comfortable in your own skin. You're not desperate for approval or attention. You don't need to prove yourself with endless explanations. That confidence in itself is magnetic. It signals that you value yourself and your time, which encourages others to do the same. Groundedness is the anchor that keeps your mystery from becoming confusing or off-putting. Being grounded means you have a solid sense of who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. You don't get easily shaken by external circumstances or the opinions of others. You show up consistently, with calm energy and clear intentions. People sense that you're stable, reliable, and centered. That stability makes the mystery inviting rather than intimidating. When you're grounded, you don't need to play emotional games or create drama to keep people interested. Your authenticity creates natural attraction. The combination of mystery and groundedness means you're never predictable but always dependable. You keep people guessing in a good way, but they know they can trust you when it counts. This makes women feel safe and curious all at once, which is a rare and powerful dynamic. You become a man who is both intriguing and trustworthy, a man who leaves a lasting impression without needing to say much at all. And in a world where so much is overshared and over-explained, that kind of presence is unforgettable.